Right, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for coming along to this joint presentation with myself, Harrington from NavVis, and Lloyd Reed from Ridge. And really, we're talking about the maximizing of your data with NavVis. You know, how Ridge have integrated NavVis into their workflows, how they're enhancing their deliverables, and obviously, I'll give a bit of background as to NavVis as well. So, NavVis captures the essence of a place. I pinched this quote from a customer, but I think it's really good. I think it's a really succinct way of describing what NavVis does. And we do this with our fusion of technology with our sensors. Sorry, we're having all sorts of problems now. There we are. With our sensors, so we've got our VLX and MLX sensors and our software as well. So essentially we're providing professional survey, reality capture, and reality access solutions. So in short, NavVis is a three-part solution. So we have the hardware, we have the cloud processing component, and we have the sort of consuming piece, that's the IVION platform. So what we're doing is we're capturing data incredibly quickly with our dynamic laser scanners. They've got that sort of sensor fusion of images and LiDAR, IMU, inertial measurement unit, and we're bringing all that data together incredibly quickly with the processing part. So this is the key sort of secret sauce, if you like, of NavVis. We collected data incredibly fast, good quality data gets fed into the processing, and then it's automatically processed. So it's taken that labor out of your sort of post-processing piece. Once it's processed, we have the consuming element. So we have the data ready to use. So you've done a scan, what are you going to do with the data? And essentially, it's in this cloud portal, which makes it agile, it makes it usable, shareable, and then that data can indeed be brought out to the cloud into your ecosystems that perhaps you're already existing with, I don't know, bringing it into CAD packages and sort of creating models and so on. So on the first piece, the kind of the first part of this three-part solution, we've got the capture part. So it's the portfolio of laser scanners. So they're all dynamic laser scanners. That means we can measure and position as we go. We've got that fusion of LiDAR, which is light detection and ranging. So we're taking in measurements, but we're also augmenting that with the images as well. We're colorizing the point cloud, creating the panoramic images too. Just to show that NavVis is trying to produce just what we call professional data, NavVis quality data. So regardless of sensor, oops, this clicker doesn't like me at all. Regardless of sensor, whether you've got the VLX2, the VLX3, which is the latest iteration of that hardware, or the MLX, hopefully you can see here that you've got good quality, colorized data, panoramic images, and really low noise band in terms of the actual quality of the point cloud. So it's whatever sensor you're using from NavVis, you bring that into the cloud, process it in the same way, and give you high quality outputs. And just some examples of MLX data. This is in a more sort of traditional or traditionally kind of complex environment, challenging environment where you've got kind of reflective materials and so on. The way that the sensor is collecting data, taking in millions of points every few seconds, and then subsampling it within the cloud processing is allowing for this data to be sort of really kind of presented in a good quality, low noise band sort of perspective with that full colorization and panoramic images as well. So again, these kind of complex environments, easy. As long as you've got geometry, our systems work really, really well. And it could be anything from sort of a complex environment to sort of residential to topographical surveys. The sensors, as long as they've got that geometry, it's going to work and it's going to go into that cloud processing and provide that optimal result. So just side-to-side sort of example here, you've got the, I suppose, the benchmark quality with the NavVis VLX3, and then we've got the same subject matter here, scanned with the MLX, and just showing that really we're producing good quality data, good quality colorization, geometry, regardless of sensor. So if we go into the second part of the solution, which is the cloud processing part, what we're doing is uploading the data from the sensor. So you go do your scanning, collect mass data. You'll need at some point internet connectivity to upload that data into the cloud, set your task parameters, so a couple of clicks, and then it's automatically decimating your point cloud, producing 5 mil, 10 mil spacing across the point cloud. It's creating panoramic images. It's colorizing your data using the pixels from the cameras to colorize the LiDAR. Person blurring, license plate blurring as well. It's eradicating drift, so if you've got some errors on site, perhaps the scanner's got confused because of, I don't know, maybe it's a complex environment, or it's got kind of locally, it's got a bit confused on site. That data's coming together and it's being put back together within the cloud processing. So this is really that kind of secret sauce from NavVis that sets us apart in terms of the solution. It's also aligning and optimizing to control. So if you're using control points, it's obviously transforming to the control points and giving you some residual results there. removing dynamic objects, and crucially it works whenever you choose. So I'll go out and do my scanning, I'll put the data into the cloud, process automatically, and then you've got the data ready to use the next day. And I think that's a really compelling sort of business case from a NavVis perspective. You can go out on Tuesday, collect all your data, have the data ready to sort of use that information the next day and make decisions from, perhaps. Just to kind of visually showcase what the cloud processing is doing, I like to use this for training as much as anything. This is a scan I did of a church, and I've kind of walked around the nave and done the topographical elements and the indoors, outdoors. I've kind of gone up 5 stories of a spiral staircase. So you imagine a very tight medieval spiral staircase, gone back down into the nave, and then we've got this skew in the data. With the cloud processing, so with no input from myself, no labor costs, that's brought together within that kind of algorithm. So into the cloud, it sorted it out through the geometry. My methods have enabled that because I've got overlapping data. I've got kind of matching in geometry that the cloud processing is pulled all together. And this is a really extreme example of that, where I scanned a very sort of geometry poor reservoir up in Scotland. The sensors get very confused on site, but nonetheless, with the cloud processing, it's pulled it all together, even with these kind of like really, really limited geometries. So quite a remarkable result, I thought, here. So going on to the last part of the solution, we've got the consuming part. So this is the IVION part. What are you going to do with that data? So essentially, this is just an example of that church, just showcasing that we've got good quality data, colorized data, got the images. This is the point cloud, incidentally, looks very sort of photorealistic. And then just kind of side to side here, you've got the elevations in the point cloud within IVION. So I've kind of toggled through, I'm flying through the data, and then I've got the corresponding panoramic images as well. So you can see that full colorization, good quality images. And this is MLX data, even in these kind of sort of elevation, sort of fairly kind of ornate buildings, presenting really good quality data here. And even in kind of like really poorly lit conditions, this is in a mine, the scan is still scanning, so we still can achieve really good quality geometry, whether it's intensity or whether it's grayscale sort of point cloud here. You don't have to colorize your data, but of course, if you can, why wouldn't you? Because you're producing this really rich contextual information that then enhances your project. It really sort of brings your project to life, I think. And as I said at the start, NavVis really captures the essence of the place. And I think this is a little example of a scan I did in Rye, where I scanned the whole town centre in about 2 hours, and just showcasing the point cloud here, which again, incredibly rich data, incredibly photorealistic. People using this data are going to know exactly what they're working with. And then I've got a little video here of IVION. So this is a scan I did in Bloomsbury. This is down in London. MLX data, so you can see good quality images, interacting with the data by jumping through into the panos. So the panoramic images, you can see the person blurring algorithm has been toggled on here. I can maneuver around the site by sort of, again, moving into these panoramic images. And indeed, I can turn the point cloud on as well and fly through the site and just see that colorization as well. So if you wanted to bring this data out of the cloud here into a CAD ecosystem, of course, you can do that. And it's rich, reliable, good quality data. So this particular proof of concept, the customer was interested in topographical with the MLX. I think they were thinking it was more of an indoor tool, but nonetheless, you've got really broad scope with these sensors, and the MLX performed incredibly well for the elevation, colorization, good quality point cloud. You can really sort of see exactly what we're dealing with from a topographical sense as well. Incidentally, this took about 17 minutes to undertake this scan. Yeah, and hopefully you can see just the high clarity in terms of that colorization and really understanding exactly what you're dealing with in this particular example. I think the point here is MLX can achieve the same type of result as the VLX here. If you use the VLX data with the full panoramic immersive experience, like we've got here with this castle scan, the MLX is also able to achieve that. In this example, I'm actually using IVION as a bit of a repository of information, so I'm tagging in some additional sort of utility information here, using the points of interest, perhaps taking some dimensions, doing some space planning, understanding the areas of a particular space, a room, and so on. I can use the sort of different array of measurements here. I've got an area for the dance floor, or I'm sort of thinking about capacity, perhaps in this particular venue. I can take orthogonal dimensions and also point-to-point dimensions, so understanding whether the couch fits through a place, for instance. And I think this is really sort of enhancing your typical deliverables. Whether you're drafting, whether you're creating models, this is really enriching those kind of more traditional sort of products that you might be creating. So you can see I've even brought a model in there, and again, you can reference IRC files, DXF files, whatever you want to do. So it's using Ivy, like I said, as this sort of repository of information, a single source of truth, by bringing everything together, hosting it here, making it live, and making it shareable so people can actually use this information. Turning the point cloud on again, just to showcase what was achieved in about an hour's worth of scanning, indoors, outdoors, topographical elevations. And the data you'll hopefully see is incredibly rich, incredibly clean. And if I wanted to hone in on anything in particular, I can sort of see that detail. I can export that, bring that into a different ecosystem. And indeed, you can even see the sort of different, kind of the masonry within and the brick sets within the point cloud here. So when you do take this data out of the cloud, of course, and you're using the data, the quality really is in the details. So this is reliable information that you can use. It's good quality measurements, good quality geometry. And when I think about NavVis, I mean, NavVis is not niche. We're permeating into so many different sectors and use cases. And there's obviously, sort of geospatial surveying and creating sort of measured building surveys and topographical and so on. But of course, for facility management, space planning, and working in different sectors like energy and water, and working with national grid and network rail, all of this data, through the visualization piece, the virtual tour element, this is all enhancing what you do. It's really helping people understand what they're working with. And I think just to end, not all slams are created as equal. I think if you're interested in NavVis, you haven't seen NavVis data, speak to me. I mean, my day job is going out and doing these, proving the technology, referencing it against maybe conventional sensors, and showcasing not only the marginal gains, like huge kind of efficiency gains, but also the ability to kind of showcase that and use that information and then have it available within the cloud and ready to use. So that's me done. So I'll pass on to Lloyd at this point. So thank you very much.
Hopefully everybody can hear me. So my name is Lloyd Reed. I'm a senior associate at the geospatial discipline at Bridging Partners. So some of you may not be aware of Bridging Partners, so I thought I'd just do a bit of a summary of who we are. We are a built environment multidisciplinary consultancy with around 14 UK office locations up and down England. There's one in Cardiff. We have over 1,300 employees at the moment, and we are ever growing. All across different disciplines and multiple sectors. So just a quick slide to just summarize the various disciplines we have. It's probably not very readable for everyone there, but we have everything from architects, building surveyors, project managers, quantity surveyors, civil engineers, MEP engineers, health and safety, and geospatial, and a whole raft of others. For the geospatial discipline, we have 4 teams in 4 floor offices: Oxford, Birmingham, London, and Leeds. And we have a presence in our Plymouth office, which is growing, so we can cover pretty much the entire breadth of the country from those various office locations, and supporting our other disciplines within Ridge. I would say probably typically around 70% of our workflow comes from our internal teams. So we're working in all different sectors with all different disciplines. So the variety of work that we do is massive. So within the geospatial discipline at Ridge, we've invested heavily in our tools to help us do our jobs. So I know I'm doing a presentation with NavVis at the moment, but I have some Leica equipment up there as well. We use any tool we need to try and watch the end results. So we do utilize it like artificial 360. We use 360 cameras, and we, as the probably right in saying, we're fairly early adopters of the VLX, probably Martin's second customer, probably. So we bought the VLX a few years ago, and we have recently invested in the MLX as well. So in general, really, it's just trying to use the right tool for the job, for whatever survey we're trying to tackle, and for whichever of our internal disciplines we're working with. So why did we invest in NavVis at Ridge? So the obvious one, rapid data capture. As you'll have seen from the first half of Martin's presentation, the ability to walk around the site and very quickly capture highly accurate point cloud data, the 360 color imagery, is enhanced our ability to deliver projects quicker and to scan more and more effectively. The cloud processing element is another fantastic part of the NavVis ecosystem. Being able to get back to the site upload the data at the end of the day, and come in the following morning and we've got the cloud there ready to go. Really have to speed up the process. We don't have a couple of days of a surveyor processing their data. We're not losing time. We're delivering things quicker and more cost effectively for our clients and for our internal teams, which is allowing them to adopt utilizing our services more on their projects. But it is more than just a laser scanner. It's a powerful tool for collaboration. So working within a multidisciplinary practice, we are able to cross-sell with our project managers, our building surveyors, our architects, to get them to invest in utilizing our technology in our team on their projects, whereas they might not consider doing it before, because they now have this platform in IVION where they can virtually walk around their buildings that they're working on without the need to send people to site. So it reduces the need for multiple site visits for design teams, and it helps with client and stakeholder engagement. They can see the value in what they're paying for from a survey when they can jump into a web link and see the resulting data. So a bit of a case study. We've recently been working on a large project with St John's College in Oxford. I myself am based in our Oxford team, so it's a very local project for me. The project itself consists of an extensive portfolio of properties that St John's College own across the city, and the quantity surveyors in our Oxford office were engaged to carry out a insurance in real estate cost analysis, which requires them to understand full areas and the conditions of the buildings to inform their reports. So the geospatial team were engaged to provide accurate set of floor plans. As with most historical institutions, they have no record drawings. So we were asked to go in, laser scan the buildings and provide floor plans. So the first challenge is with that project is we've got to survey approximately 85 properties. Doing that by traditional methods with a just terrestrial laser scanner is quite a big task, especially given the fact that you are tackling a mixture of student accommodation, houses, study centres, lecture theatres, libraries, and various staff areas. So there's a lot of coordination involved in that, and it's a massive amount of surveying. All the spaces are in use varied times, so it starts to become a bit of a nightmare to try and organise that, and people aren't too amenable when you want to get into their bedroom for about 10 minutes at a time. So that was our initial approach, and we thought, could we offer more, and could we deliver better? So we chose to adopt the NavVis solution for this, and this actually prompted us to invest in the MLX, because we could rapidly capture the data. So over the vast portfolio of properties, we could get into them and out of them very quickly. Massive amounts of data captured very fast. It minimises disruption. The client was very pleased with that. The kernel processing allowed us to process the data overnight and be jumping straight on with the drawing work immediately afterwards to help progress the project quickly. As you can imagine, 85 properties, floor plans to produce. It's quite a lot of drawing and drafting time, quite a lot of things of resource required. So the quicker we can do that, the better. And then future use. As with most institutions, they're very early on in their digitalisation journey. But we understand going forward, most of these Oxford colleges and other institutions are going to be wanting to explore how they digitise their full estate. So we've got it really at the ground floor. We managed to massively reduce the amount of time that it would take to capture all that data, capture everything in 360 colour imagery, and have it all cloud hosted for them. So we're sort of first in the door to assist them with that journey going forward. And it creates this single source of truth for the information. So now, as a multidisciplinary practice, allowing our quantity surveyors to jump into IVION has reduced the amount of time and resource they need to commit to having surveyors going to site on a daily basis to walk around the buildings, take photos, reports and schedules. They still send surveyors to site. Doesn't reduce the logistic need for that completely, but it allows them to do a lot of their legwork from the office, which is obviously a cost saving to them, and therefore we can pass that cost saving on to the client. So they can quickly and accurately take measurements, they can take areas, and they can create points of interest as a reference and a note for either other members of the team or for the client in the future, such as floor finishes and things like that. So for this project in particular, they're looking at the reinstatement costs so they can make notes and tag all of these BOIs in there, got all the different materials, and then add their valuations to that. So the other uses and added value that we found as well, we can start to explore verification, progress monitoring, and record of condition. Working closely with our building surveyors, we're exploring the possibilities of integrating their condition surveys, their PPM surveys, all into IVION. So it's a platform where they can input all that information, and the client can view all that information. As exciting as a builder surveyor's PPM Excel spreadsheet is, it's a lot more interesting for a client to view it all in a 360 environment. There's a couple of examples of some images there of some topographical surveys we've undertaken one of our architecture teams as well, where it's a large housing estate. Access to a lot of back gardens, front gardens and areas was going to be very difficult for long periods of time to undertake a topographical survey by traditional methods. So we walked the entire site with the VLX, fully captured the data, and now the architects can virtually walk around the site as well as view our topographical information. And a lot of our work is scan to BIM as well. So we utilize deploying the NavVis systems on this, quickly walking around our sites, capturing the data that is good enough quality for us to produce our as-built existing BIM models. The bottom right is a large-scale MEP survey that we've undertaken under lots of plant rooms in a hospital, whereas it probably would have been weeks, if not months of scanning. It was actually only a week to 2 weeks on site with the VLX, and that was used in combination with micro RTC 360s, GNSS, total stations, and other devices as well. So we combine those into our workflows as a holistic package to then deliver a project a lot quicker. And finally, other added value pieces we found, again, working with our quantity surveyors to understand progress on projects. The two images on the left there are from a project where, unfortunately, a contractor has gone into administration, immediately pulled off site. Our quantity surveyors were engaged to understand where the project was up to then provide a valuation for completion for the next contractor to come in and benchmark their pricing against. So within days, we were on site scanning 13 floors of an office building. It took us all of 5 days to scan the entire site and then provide almost a day later the full data set for our quantity surveyors and for the client to understand the progress of the point where the contractor left site. And then that has been invaluable in getting the new contractor engaged and on site quicker, therefore saving time and money for the end client. So in summary, we're utilising NavVis technology across the entirety of Ridge. Our geospatial offering is giving us a more collaborative approach with other disciplines, providing added value for them and for our clients, and to generate more opportunities within geospatial discipline, where other teams are now wanting to speak to us about projects where we're just literally delivering an IVION model for them and not drawings, models or anything like that. They just want us to get in there and scan it, and then they can visualize and view the entire site from the comfort of their desks. So that's a brief from me. Thank you very much.